hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
Take a deep breath in, and as you breathe in a feeling of calm and relaxation. And as you exhale, just allow your eyelids to close as you immediately start to feel deeper and deeper relaxed. That's right, breathing in that resourceful feeling of relaxation, enabling you to feel more and more comfortable, noticing the sound of my voice, but also the sounds of your surroundings. And as you exhale, just notice that any feelings of tension or stress slowly but surely start to leave your body now. Deeper and deeper relax as you continue to breathe in and breathe out, imagining a resourceful feeling going in through your nose, filling your lungs, and imagining that your heart is taking that resourceful feeling of relaxation and distributing it, pumping it around your body to every single cell. And any of those cells that contain anxiety, stress, or tension, just imagine that they are melting away. And in the outward breath, notice how that feeling of tension or stress or anxiety leaves in your outward breath. Now, that's it. Deeper and deeper relaxed. And I want you to use the power of your imagination to imagine a grand house. A large house, perhaps a mansion, or a very large house with a large staircase. And I want you to imagine that you're standing at the top of the staircase, looking down, perhaps to a large, grand reception area, perhaps with tiled floors. Imagine there you are standing at the top of that staircase. And very soon I will count downwards from 10 to 1. And with each descending number, you will imagine taking steps down the staircase, and at the same time, your body will go 10% deeper and deeper relaxed with each and every descending step, so that by the time you reach the bottom of the staircase, you will be in a deep trance-like state. Let's try that now. 10, taking that first step down the staircase, and notice an immediate feeling of relaxation floods through your body. 9, notice the muscles in your neck and shoulders start to loosen and relax as you take another step down the staircase. 8, another step down the staircase as you notice your fingers start to relax, enabling you to really become aware of the increasing levels of relaxation. 7 and 6, deeper and deeper relaxed. 5, halfway down the staircase now, feeling relaxation in your legs all the way down to your feet. 4, feeling that relaxation inside your lungs, inside your stomach, your heart, your diaphragm. That's it. 3 and 2, feeling deeper relaxed as you go down the staircase. 1, reaching the bottom of the staircase. 0, and notice that as your foot touches the floor of that reception area, you feel incredibly relaxed and comfortable and safe in this grand house. I want you to look around this house and see that somewhere in the reception area is a comfortable chair, perhaps a recliner chair. And I want you to imagine sitting on that chair and leaning the chair back so that you are leaning back in that reclined chair, feeling your body sink into that chair, taking you deeper and even deeper. Relax, that's it. And I want you to use the power of your imagination to imagine what it would be like to fall asleep in that chair. Let's try that now. As I count down from 5 to 1, you will imagine falling asleep in that chair, in that reception area, in a grand house at the bottom of a staircase. 5, feeling that your eyelids are getting heavier and heavier. And 4, feeling a desire to yawn. 3, feeling that you feel just moments before you drift off to sleep. 2 and 1, falling asleep now. That's it. Deeper and deeper and deeper asleep. And you can imagine that you've fallen so far asleep that you are now in a dream, seeing yourself in that same room, that same reception room, and there you are in that chair, fast asleep. And it's just a metaphor. It's just your imagination imagining what it would be like to see yourself asleep as your imagination now explores this house. And there is a room in this house that will be known as the control room. And I want you to imagine that what if this house was a representation of your body, and somewhere in this house there was a control room that enabled you to make changes that would have a ripple effect throughout your life. I want you to intuitively know which door you would need to open to enter the control room. And let's go there now. Stand in front of the door, about to open the door, knowing that as you open the door, there will be a control room, and whatever your imagination creates for you is exactly as it should be. That's right. Standing in front of the door, and 3, 2, 1, opening the door, walking into that control room, closing the door behind you, and perhaps you can see a futuristic modern control room, or perhaps a mechanical control room, or something that looks like an air traffic control room. But whatever comes up for you is exactly as it should be. Just know that in this room, you are able to see the dynamic, interconnected nature of thoughts, behaviors, and how your body responds. And I want you to notice that there are different dials, there are different dashboards. Here in this place, you are able to see certain things, and I want you to see some kind of gauge that represents your metabolism. And I want you to notice that this will grade your current metabolism from anything from 0% to 100%. And the fact that you're alive means that your metabolism will be at a certain level, perhaps 30, 40, or 50, perhaps not as high as it could be, but certainly not at no level at all. In order for you to have a very, very slow metabolism, you would need to have the digestive system and the way of eating like a large alligator or a boa constrictor, where you're able to have one meal and your body will digest that meal over many days and many weeks, and you will only need to eat every few weeks. And the fact that that is not how you eat means that your metabolism is perhaps already higher than you think it is. And I want you to see on that gauge where it currently is. And then imagine that there is a large screen that enables you to look at memories and also future behavior. And we're going to look at the things that we can do in the present and in the future to increase your metabolic rate. And I want you to look on the screen right now and see yourself in the future, perhaps even tomorrow, increasing the amount of protein that you eat, perhaps at every meal or some of the most important meals of the day. Because most people aren't aware that there is a thermic effect of food, and certain foods have a larger amount of this thermic effect of food. In fact, protein has the highest amount in the sense that it increases your metabolic rate by 15 to 30% compared to the thermic effect of food for carbohydrates or fats, which are much, much lower. Simply put, as you see yourself on that screen increasing the amount of protein that you eat, you will then notice that on that gauge, the metabolism starts to increase. And as your metabolic rate increases, it essentially means that you are burning calories even when you are not exercising. You are burning calories when you sleep, you are burning calories when you walk, you are burning calories at every part of the day to a higher level when your metabolic rate is higher. And I want you to imagine specifically what kind of protein you could increase the amount that you eat, and perhaps replace certain things with other things that increase the amount of protein. And perhaps you will know your diet and you will know what kind of foods you prefer than other foods. But just know that as you increase the amount of protein, this will enable your body to increase your metabolism, meaning that you are burning fat for longer periods of time. And then I want you to notice that the screen there in that control room changes as you now see yourself as if you're someone else on that screen, increasing the amount of cold water that you drink. Many people drink drinks that contain sugar or perhaps sugar that they don't even realize in fruit juices. Perhaps there are processed drinks that you would normally drink, and I want you to see yourself drinking more cold water, perhaps with added ice cubes. And as you notice that as you start to replace what you were conventionally drinking with more of these ice cold water, notice that the gauge for your metabolic rate increases. Because as you reduce your calorie intake and increase the amount of hydration, you are empowering your cells to do what your cells do very well. And your body already has fat cells. Consider your fat cells as a source of stored energy. And the more efficiently your cells can communicate with each other, then your body can release that stored energy when you need it. Drinking more water, as you see yourself doing that on screen, notice on the gauge increases your metabolic rate. And notice that because you're drinking more water that contains ice cubes or perhaps chilled water, because your body temperature is around 37.5 degrees Celsius, the nature of your body having to use energy to heat your body means that you're burning more calories simply by drinking this cold water. In fact, a study showed that of overweight adults, when they drank half a liter of water before their meals, they lost 44% more weight than those who didn't. And from this point forward, we are planting a seed deep in your subconscious mind that as you drink more cold water, your calorie intake reduces and simultaneously your metabolism increases. And now on screen, I want you to see yourself increasing the amount of physical activity that you do. And it may be that you don't go to the gym or you don't go for jogs, but see yourself perhaps walking more. See yourself doing things that make you sweat. And I want you to see this on screen. And when you do this, perhaps this is cardio activity. And I want you to see yourself in particular doing activities that is high intensity, but also something fun. See yourself on screen smiling, perhaps even laughing as you do these things, because as you link the emotion of fun and playfulness and enjoyment to these high intensity workouts, you are creating a neural association where doing the workout itself will make you feel good, not just because of the serotonin and the endorphins going into your blood making you feel great, but linking it to you enjoying the very thing. And doing that workout then becomes an anchor. So simply by doing a workout makes you feel good. But more importantly, as you see yourself on that screen doing that high intensity workout, now see that gauge of your metabolic rate also increasing. And perhaps it's already at 60 or 70 or even 80%, perhaps getting close to the highest that your metabolic rate can be for your own genetics and your own frame of body. That's right. And now see the type of exercise that you're doing on that screen evolve, not just high intensity activity like exercise classes. Now see yourself starting to lift heavy things, and they don't have to be weights. They could just be large things that you've got knocking around your house. See yourself lifting heavy things, and as you do so, this will increase the amount of muscle that is being built in your body. And those people that have a higher proportion of muscle will automatically need to burn more calories, even if they do nothing. The resting metabolic rate is always higher in those that have a higher proportion of muscle mass. And the only way that you can increase the amount of muscle mass that you have is by stretching your body beyond its comfort zone that is already there. If it is considered heavy by you, then it is slightly outside of your comfort zone. It can't be so heavy that it causes an injury, but it can't be so light that it doesn't require any effort or energy at all. See yourself on this screen lifting heavy things, perhaps with the aid of a personal trainer or some kind of videos on the internet showing you how to do it in the right way with the right technique. And notice that as time goes on and you see yourself on that screen increasing the weight of those heavy things that you can lift, notice that gauge representing your metabolic rate again starts to increase. And notice as well, there is a gauge next to metabolic rate which represents self-confidence. As your metabolism increases, notice that your energy levels and confidence levels also increase, because your body is releasing more of these feel-good chemicals in your body. And as your body shape changes, notice that you are getting closer to the ideal version of you, which is the definition of self-esteem. Essentially, the closer the ideal version is to the current version of you, the higher your self-esteem will be. And notice that as you see yourself on screen doing more of those high-intensity workouts and lifting heavier and heavier weights, slowly, gradually over time, not only does your metabolic rate increase, but also your confidence and self-esteem is also increasing. That's right. And I want you to see also on this screen that you are now seeing yourself choosing to stand up more and sit down less. There is many articles by peer-reviewed journals that show that sitting too much is bad for your health. A sedentary lifestyle creates all kinds of potential lifestyle issues. And as you see yourself on screen, walking more and standing up more, notice that this increases your body's ability to be active. And for many people, they can stand up for long periods of time without even realizing. Instead of sitting down to watch something, you could imagine standing up. See yourself on screen standing up more. Things that you would normally sit down, see yourself standing up more, and notice that incrementally over time, your metabolic rate starts to increase. And even just one or two of these things will boost your metabolism. But there is a part of your mind that is eager to boost your metabolism quicker and more sustainably. So your unconscious mind has a desire to do many of these different things so that you get the benefit of having more energy. And with that more energy, you are then able to stand up more and walk more and perhaps do more of that activity. And because the activity will make you sweat, you then drink more of that cold water that also encourages your body to boost your metabolism and burn more calories. I also want you to see yourself on screen drinking more only if it is something that you are happy to drink, more of caffeinated drinks that are of good quality. And I want you to see yourself perhaps drinking green tea or perhaps black coffee only if it's something that aligns with your values and your taste. But if it does, see yourself drinking more of those caffeinated drinks, particularly green tea, which is filled with antioxidants that improve your health, but also increases your body's ability to burn fat. Notice that as you see yourself drinking more green tea, your metabolic rate increases on that gauge. And then I want finally for you to see yourself there on screen sleeping for longer. I want you to see yourself perhaps going to bed slightly earlier, and more importantly, see yourself on screen getting a really good night's sleep. I want you to see that perhaps it's easier to get a good night's sleep because you're drinking more water and you're being more active in the day, perhaps having workouts or lifting weights. And notice that because you go to bed and perhaps you're tired from that physical exertion and you've been eating good quality food with lots of protein, notice that as your head touches the pillow and you see that happening on screen, notice how quickly you're able not just to sleep, but to have a good quality night's sleep. And as you see yourself having a good quality night's sleep, know that your body is able to repair whatever needs to be repaired and increase your metabolic rate so that you see yourself burning fat even as you sleep. And the final thing I want you to see on this screen is that you are having your last meal of the day slightly earlier and the first meal of the next day slightly later, giving your body more time to burn fat. And as you see your body burning more fat, notice that your metabolic rate increases, because when you do finally eat, you're eating more high quality foods with more protein, perhaps with salads, lots of green, colorful salads and vegetables that enable your body to do what your body is designed to do, and that is to be efficient. And if your body is carrying excess weight, that is not an efficient way for your body to deal with the many challenges of day-to-day life. So as you see yourself sleeping better, exercising more, and having a wider period of time where you don't eat anything, notice again that gauge showing the metabolic rate increases even more. And perhaps as you see yourself doing all of these things, I want you to imagine that your metabolism increases so much that perhaps you notice that on screen you're seeing a version of yourself looking slimmer, leaner, perhaps more muscular, but in a way that you consider to be attractive for your body shape and how you look. Notice as well that you can see as your body gets leaner and slimmer. Notice that your portion sizes are going down, but perhaps you're eating more regular throughout that window when you choose to eat. Notice that all of these things are improving your body's ability to burn fat, increase your metabolism, and then imagine that you're able to fast forward that screen so you go into the future. And I want you to see what it would look like if you visited yourself a year from now. If you did many of these things that can increase your metabolic rate, increasing the amount of protein, increasing the amount of water that you drink, increasing the amount of physical activity and when you walk and when you stand, increasing these things that enable you to fall asleep at night and have good quality sleep, and when you wake up, having a later breakfast, so that your body is burning fat more and more, and it keeps what your body needs, and that is high levels of vitality and energy. And see yourself a year from now with the kind of body that you can expect to have as your metabolism increases. And also notice that your facial expression and your body posture reflects your emotional state. Notice that as your body has burnt more fat and your metabolism has increased, notice what your facial expression and your overall demeanor and energy looks like. And then imagine stepping into that version of you, become that person of you a year from now in the screen, and feel how good it feels to have a high metabolism. Feel how good it feels to have lost weight and body fat and instead replaced it with more muscle and more confidence and self-esteem. Feel how good it feels to have full of energy and vitality, and notice that you have huge amounts of motivation, and certain things that you used to not enjoy, you now notice that you do enjoy. You enjoy being more physically active, and you enjoy stretching your body so that you become stronger and healthier, and it enables your body to sleep really well at night. That's it. Jump out of that future image of you, see yourself on screen, see the gauge with those higher levels of metabolism, and commit in advance that your unconscious mind will assist you in doing more of these things so that you will naturally, organically, intuitively make decisions that lead you to increasing your metabolism and accessing this future body shape. It's now time to leave the control room, and you do. You leave the control room, and then you see yourself there in a reclined chair, fast asleep. This is your conscious mind. It's been asleep all this time. I want you to imagine stepping into that version of you, feeling like your body is now also on the reclined chair, so that you're able to access all parts, conscious and unconscious, now working together to increase your metabolism and burn more fat. And realize that this is just a dream within a dream, a thought within a thought, and that you're not really in the reception of a large mansion, just having got up from a reclined chair, that actually you are wherever you are right now, listening to my voice. And very shortly, I'm going to count from 1 to 10 to awaken you. You will awaken with a feeling of resourcefulness, confidence, and a desire to take those future behaviors that you saw on screen into what will be memories in the future. And as you think back, it will become second nature for you to do more of these things, because the moment that you increase your metabolism, you have a desire to do more things that increase your metabolism even more. And one final image I want to leave you with before you awaken is the idea of a roundabout in a children's play park. To begin with, The roundabout is stationary and it requires effort to start pushing the roundabout round and around. But once the roundabout starts to go around, it requires less and less energy to keep the roundabout moving. And I want you to think that this is how it's going to be with your metabolism, that initially it might require some discipline, some effort to do the things that will enable you to increase your metabolic rate, to drink more water, to do more exercise, to eat more protein. But once you start that process, it becomes so easy that very soon, sooner than you think, it will be second nature, and that is just a part of your lifestyle. And the weight loss that follows is just a side effect of living that way. You will awaken full of optimism, full of resourcefulness, looking forward to integrating changes that you've made in your mind into changes that you will make in reality. Starting to count to awaken you. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.